So I'm going to be teaching a devotional on the right kind of worry. There is a right kind of worry. There's a bad kind, the one we hear mostly about. That infers there must be a right way versus wrong. So let's read Philippians 2:19 through 20. I got three versions I want to read through. I got the American Standard, the New American Standard Bible, and the New King James Version. So verse 19, Philippians 2:19. But I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy shortly unto you, that I also may be of good comfort when I know your state. For I have no man like-minded who will care truly for your state. The New American Bible Standard, or New American Standard Bible says, but I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you shortly, so that I also may be encouraged. A little different word there. When I learn your condition. For I have no one else of kindred spirit who will genuinely be concerned for your welfare. And then the New King James Version says, but I trust in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you shortly, that I also may be encouraged when I know your state. For I have no one like-minded who will sincerely care for your state. So I'm going to concentrate on the word care in this here. And then the American Standard says care truly for your state. American Standard Bible, New American Standard Bible says will genuinely be concerned for your welfare. They all have good points. So as a general rule, worrying is a bad thing. You can read about that when Jesus was on the Sermon on the Mount. He condemned anxiety about material things, what we shall eat or what we shall wear. In that context, he said, be not anxious about such things. You read about that in Matthew 6:25 and following. So the Greek word for this care is merimna. Okay. Anyway, there is a Greek word, and it denotes care, anxiety, worry. But let's look at this as the right kind of worry, not the wrong kind. And the Lord taught that worry about the mundane affairs of this world is both useless and faithless. Did I say ruthless? I'm not sure why that came out. Useless, not ruthless. Useless. That makes more sense, huh? So useless, it changes nothing. You can worry all you want, but if it's not going to change it, why waste your time? And faithless, it reflects a lack of confidence in God and smacks of heathenism. Okay, on the other hand, there's a healthy type of concern, which is that care. Yes, we may even use the term worry in that. Again, that's the right kind of worry. So in this context, Paul writes of his intention to send Timothy to Philippi in order to determine how these precious brethren are sustaining under the tribulation to which they had been subjected, as we read in verse 19. The reason he has selected Timothy for this mission is this: I have no man like-minded who will care. That's that word, merimnao, will care truly for your state. Timothy's love for these saints was genuine to the point of he worried about their faithfulness, their faith. He worried about the brothers there. Elsewhere, the apostle admonished that Christians must care, there's that word again, for one another as members of the same body. Let's turn over to 1 Corinthians 12:25. That there should be no schism, which is separation or split, no split, no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. So that's that worry again, the good kind of worrying. And also, let's turn over to 2 Corinthians 11:28. In fact, anxiety for all the churches was a pressing matter each day in the heart of the great apostle to the Gentiles. Let's read here in 11:28, 2 Corinthians. Besides those things that are without, there is that which possesseth upon me daily anxiety for all the churches. So Paul worried about all the churches. So we need to maintain that same type of care or worrying. And so, though we ought to try to conquer fretfulness over the temporal matters of the earthly existence, there is a legitimate place for true concern, care for the spiritual welfare of others. You know, if you can't change it, why worry about it? You know, I was worried yesterday. I went to the mailbox, and I got a letter for Lemhi Sheriff. Like, whoa, I've never got a letter from the Lemhi Sheriff Department. And I got out in my buggy. I said, well, maybe I should. No, I'm going to go home. It's got to be okay. Why is the sheriff sending me mail? So as soon as I got in the house, I ripped that thing open, and it was a deadline for expiration for a gun permit, for a permit. And if I paid by a certain date, it was just a pay it and get the permit. But if I didn't pay it, then it was a penalty. But I worried for nothing. But man, your mind just goes through all sorts of things. I've never got a letter from the sheriff's department, so I had no. So anyway, back to Philippians 2:20. So this lesson was based off of Wayne Jackson's book. On page 105 is notes from the margin of my Bible. And I was scanning through that trying to figure out a lesson. I go, the right kind of worry. And I've always heard of the bad kind, so I thought it was interesting to me. So hopefully it was interesting to you. So if you want to, he recommends you underline the word care in Philippians 2:20, and then in margin, right kind of worry, and put a little semicolon, and then for wrong kind, see Matthew 6:22 and following. So I hope this helps you, because I was sort of under the understanding all anxiety and worrying was bad. So it was kind of nice to find that today and study that. So if there's anyone here tonight that's subject to the gospel or would like to have prayers, we ask that you come as we stand and sing.